What is your villain origin story? Today we are going to be diving in to two different stories. We have pile number 1 and pile number 2. And we are going to be diving into what your villain origin story is. Where did your villain arc originate, guys? And so, like I said, we do have two piles. And what you're going to do is you're going to kind of look at these piles and kind of meditate on them just a little bit and see which one of these piles resonates with you more. Does the shaman resonate with you more, or does the ocean resonate with you more? And for a select number of you guys, you're actually going to be called to both of these piles, and that is by design. You're going to be relating to a more intense villain origin story, and it's going to be kind of a combination of these piles. So whether you are pile number 1, pile number 2, or a combination of both, we are going to dive into your villain origin story. And so I'm going to give you guys a moment to meditate on the piles, and timestamps will be in the description. So for pile number 1, welcome. For those of you who chose the shaman as the origin of your villain arc, we are going to be diving into what it is that shaped you and how it is you reacted to that. So what kind of shadow sides of life shaped you, and how, in what way did you react in that to contribute to your villain arc? And we are going to be starting with the shaman card. So there's actually 3 archetypal ingredients that constitute the shaman, and all must be present in order to reveal its magic. First, the shaman is activated by a long-standing diligent study. Second, its orientation is generously and accurately aimed towards the healing of the self and the other and the culture. And third, the shaman has a knack for finding doorways to the other world, allowing psychic visions and old magic to leak into the world. In this way, the shaman is a master who bridges the everyday and the sacred, revealing potent power needed desperately in our time. Yet where there is power on one end, there is shadow on the other. So the shaman must be vigilant in studying their darkness. These cards remind us that the force of healing is ultimately not our own. We must shape it and share it with the world. So for pile number 1, I'm definitely getting kind of an idea that there could have been a miscalculation or a misstep in between the deep, long-standing study of the self and the life, and transitioning towards the healing of the self. There may have been a disconnect between learning about yourself growing up, what you were taught about yourself, and how you were able to heal that shadow, and that could have contributed to the villain origin story that we are going to be talking about today. So we're going to put our shaman card right up here, and we are going to be diving into the villain origin story at the top and how that has come into fruition in your life in the bottom. So for pile number 1, what is their villain origin story? We already saw a disconnect between the shadow and the light, the knowing of the self and the healing. So what is the villain origin story here? The manipulator. So for a lot of you guys, whether this was from a young age or whether this was later in life, you may have encountered someone who you felt as though you couldn't trust. You felt as though you couldn't be yourself around, as so to not be manipulated by this person. This could be someone who used you to get what they wanted out of you, who force you into situations you didn't want to be in. This could be someone who manipulates their way through life, and unfortunately in your life, they came across your path and affected you, and this contributed to that villain origin story. It seems like this relates to our shaman card in here because someone manipulated your story in life. Someone told you who you had to be. Someone told you what you had to do that was not in alignment with the self and the healing and eventually the transcendence to the other world, the other side, the portal to whatever is on the other side. And so that's where the disconnect I was talking about came in. It was not a straight path from learning and developing a sense of ego of who you are and how to that there was not proper healing. You were not given the proper story about who you were, and so your perception has been manipulated of yourself. Your perception of yourself has been manipulated, and there has not yet been healing from that manipulation. Okay, guys, so let's see what else we have here. The Spectator, I see that you may also be affected by the person or people who saw this happening and just watched and kind of let it happen. You may have been manipulated by someone, and there may have been people around who did not step in to help. This may have been someone who you thought you could trust, someone you thought would be there for you. But at the end of the day, when it came down to it, this person was not there for you. They did not jump in. They did not take action to help you out of a bad situation. They spectated, and this could have led to a further disconnect from the self and the healing, the shadow and the light, because not only did someone step in and manipulate your sense of self, but someone else that you thought you could trust did not try to stop them from doing that. Let's see. The pity party. I see that part of your villain origin story could be that you had no one really to kind of talk to about these things. The people you thought you could trust showed up in no better of a way than the person causing the damage, and it seems like you may have had to kind of deal with the sadness alone. There may have been nights that you spent in isolation, in sadness, just kind of crying for yourself, kind of feeling bad for yourself because there was no one else around you to sympathize or empathize with you or your situation, and so you were left to deal with the sense of self that you thought you had and the shadow beneath that. You had to deal with all of this on your own, it seems like. You had to deal with a lot of difficult situations by yourself. And I'm seeing that definitely contributed to your villain origin story. Having to deal with such a difficult situation, or like a long-standing situation or timeline, and having to be there only for yourself, being the one to cry and the one to pick yourself back up again. That definitely contributed to your origin story. Now let's see how that is actually coming into play now that you are in a villain arc. How is that coming into play with you? So we have the prude. I see that you are not one who allows people in easily anymore. You do not instantly trust the first person who comes along and asks for your trust. You do not go around giving your energy willy-nilly. You are very you are very unreachable. You're very unreachable. People cannot get to you. as easily as they would want to. And it seems like that creates an allure around you, that people wonder about you, people question about you, people want to know about you or be a part of your life or situation, but you are no longer letting people in willy-nilly. You have much higher standards and regards for who you let into your space, because at the end of the day, it was you and yourself together. You brought yourself out of that situation. And so you're not giving your time and energy out willy-nilly at this point. And that's part of your villain arc at this point. The gossip. You may even be someone who finds it kind of funny how deep people get into their own situations that just seem so meaningless to you. You feel as though you've been through such a deep and transformational and dark time in your life that other people's, baggage is just not worth your time. It's not your problem, and so you find it almost humorous when people are complaining about such meaningless things. You hear things through the grapevine about what people are going through, and you're just like, yeah, they don't understand. They don't get it. Some people's scope of life is just not at the same level or point that you've gotten to. And so it just seems like petty or shallow connections with people is just not of interest to you anymore. Which definitely plays into people not having, just any access to you that they want at this time. You may be someone who's very hard to reach through text. You may be someone who's very hard to make plans with. You may be someone who is not interested in letting a lot of new people in at this time because it's just not worth your time. And the nemesis, you may actually even be kind of confrontational at this point. If you feel as though someone is intruding on you or your boundaries, you are not going to be someone who lets that slide. You're going to be someone who speaks up for yourself, whether or not that makes the other person comfortable. You are not afraid of speaking your mind, and you are not afraid of enemies, okay? Because it's not important to you to let your own values slide at the expense of other people who weren't there for you in the past anyway. These people weren't there for you at your darkest time, and so you don't have a problem causing confrontation when it comes to standing up for yourself. You are a very hyper-independent person at this time. That's part of your villain era. You don't let people in easily. And you're not afraid of enemies. You're really not at this point. Okay, guys, you're a very strong person at this point. And that's kind of what I'm seeing about your villain origin story, pile number 1. Now, for those of you that chose just pile number 1, I hope you enjoyed this reading. If this resonated with you, I do offer private readings. Those will be linked down below, and make sure to subscribe. For those of you who also chose pile number 2, I will see you in the next reading. Hello, pile number 2. This is for those of you who chose the ocean as your villain origin story. And for those of you who came from pile number 1 and are also watching pile number 2, hello, welcome. And for those of you who this is the one and only pile you chose, welcome as well. We are going to be diving into your villain origin story based on this card here, the ocean, and then diving further into the narrative. The power of the ocean is unmatched. To step into its salty waters is to step into the unknown. By its sheer volume, the ocean represents the unconscious, all that is beyond our understanding. We cannot live within the ocean. We cannot claim it, manage it, or own it. It rejects our every attempt to dominate nature. Yet, amid its overwhelming power, it calls to us, inspires us, and invigorates our life on land. It dissolves the little us into the big us. When the energy of the ocean is present, there is change stirring that is beyond any change you've known before. The ego must dissolve. The saline swells work on your every cells, your fibers, your deepest underlying beliefs. Like Aphrodite, we rise from the ocean's froth a new being. Life is changed. Let the wave crash. So to me, this is very telling. It seems like something has been kind of bubbling under the surface for a very long time, whether in the unconscious, whether in the energies of the body. Something is ready to rupture and change your life in a very, very big way. And this could be a part of your origin story. Whatever it is that caused that villain origin story, the change is about to come. That major transformation, dissolving of ego, changing of being, changing the identity of the self is about to uprise with the ocean here. Your villain origin story has been something that has affected you so greatly that it's going to cause kind of the change of a lifetime in your life right now, guys. So let's see. At the top here, we're going to acknowledge the villain origin story, and then down here we're going to acknowledge how that is affecting your life right now, how that's coming into play in your life right now. So your villain origin story, we have, let's see, the self-righteous. So it seems like there may have been someone who felt very entitled to you in some way, or entitled to speak over you, entitled to speak for you, entitled to express how much they thought they were better than you in some way. It seems like they had a very inflated ego, and here with the ocean we talk about the ego dissolving. And so this could be coming into play in how this villain origin story has affected you, someone with such a grandiose ego, and the way in which they projected it into your life, onto you, onto your worth. They projected their self-worth onto your life, which does not work because everyone else has a different path in life. And if someone is telling you that if you are not living life in the way that they deem is correct, that you are wrong, this could definitely be part of your villain origin story. Oh, wow. Another one came out very quick, the glutton. Wow, it seems like you've been affected by a person, situation, group of people that are very selfish, very greedy, very uppity, just someone or a situation with such an inflated sense of ego that they feel as though they deserve everything that they want, and maybe in the past have gotten everything that they wanted, either from you or the world around them, and you're so confused as to why a person with no humble bone in their body gets everything that they want and gets to project their beliefs and morality onto you. Why do they get everything that they want in a situation? Have they manipulated the situation to get everything that they want from you? It seems like someone has an amount of power that is not just, and they use that power to their advantage, and it has negatively affected your life and contributed to your villain origin story. Let's see. And we have the abandoner. Wow. So it seems like this could definitely be someone who was influential in your life, and maybe when you did not fall for their antics, you did not change yourself for them, you did not give them what they wanted, they abandoned you. And it seems like this could be someone that should have been there for you, whether this was a family member, a good friend, a partner, someone you thought you could trust, someone you thought had your best interest in mind, tried to project their insecurities onto you, tried to take from you what they wanted, and when you didn't conform, they left your life in a very painful way. And I see that this is going to be what has contributed to your villain origin story, pile number 2. And if pile number 1 is here as well, this could be a storyline that also plays alongside the storyline from pile number 1. So, I can definitely see how this can cause a villain origin story and how this could be a painful narrative to live through. So let's see how this is coming into play now, how this is affecting your life now. The parasite. So it seems like you maybe... It seems like you may have come through this villain origin story, have come to create a hyper value on something from someone else. But let's pull to clarify more, because I want to see how this plays into the dissolving of the ego. The misery, yes. So it seems like at this time, guys, you may still be in the pain or darkness that comes with this villain origin story. It seems like you may be feeling the darkness, the sadness, the grief that comes with this villain origin story, and you may be seeking validation in other people around you. And I really think that the ocean here, we are going to jump back into this and dive into this more after we finish these cards, because I think that your story kind of starts here. And so I see that at this time you may be looking for the validation of other people out of fear of that abandonment. We have the Madam. It seems like this could have to do with trying to fit yourself into a box, trying to be what other people want you to be. And I think this Ocean card came out as a precursor to this, to let us know that this is not the fulfillment of that villain arc. This is not all there is to come with that villain arc. It seems like you may be looking for validation and still be in that pain and trying to conform, hoping for the care that you thought you had, the value that you thought you had. And I see that this pain may still be lingering for you at this time, but your villain origin story has to, your villain arc in response to your villain origin story has to do with the ocean here. That change is rumbling beneath the surface. That explosive dissolving of everything you once knew or everything you were trained to be is just on the surface. And you are going to come out a different person from this situation. You are going to realize what no longer serves you, what never served you from the beginning, how much you are worth, how much you are valued. And that value is going to come from the innermost self, not from the people around you. You're going to realize that you are the source of value in your life. You are the source of fulfillment in your life, and you are going to emerge from the depths of the ocean a changed person, because you have been at the point of drowning. You have been at the depths of the ocean, and you will arise into the world, someone who has seen darkness and yet still chooses to contribute to the world in a very beautiful way. Just as it mentioned Aphrodite, she is the goddess of love, but at the same time, she is also a goddess of war. And so that is kind of going to be your villain arc, is that you have learned how to love so deeply, but when someone uses you in a way that triggers that emotional response, you can also become the goddess of war in your life. You are not here to sit around and let people take your love for granted anymore. Okay, guys? And that is right under the surface at this time, waiting for the right moment to show itself for the rest of your life. And so pile number 2, that is what I'm seeing for you. If this resonated, I do offer private readings. Those are linked below. And I also make videos often, so make sure to subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!